Hi, I'm Gage and on August 2nd, 2020, my life changed drastically. I was working on a farm and our job that day was to clean out a grain bin. I was working in there alone. When the guy I was with went to empty one of the wagons, there was a lot of grain on the floor and I was unaware, but previously somebody had removed the hole coverings in the floor. And unexpectedly, my foot found the hole in the floor that led to the drag system. It was a long 30 minutes while it was running before they found me and shut it off. And then it was a long hour and a half before fire rescue was able to get me out. So after my accident, while laying in a hospital bed, realizing I was gonna need to find somebody to help me with this. I had one baby boy and I had another one on the way. You know, how was I gonna pay my bills? And I worked for one of the biggest farms in Central Illinois and I knew I would definitely need help. My grandpa, who had been in a work accident previously, mentioned this great attorney that he used. So we got in contact with Tim, and it was one of the best decisions I think I ever made.
I first met Gage through his grandfather, who I represented years ago in a workers' compensation case. So my first meeting with Gage was actually at a hospital. And I saw a very young man who had had a very bad injury, and it was obvious he was in a lot of pain, and he was scared. He was scared about what his future would be. So I sat down with Gage. We talked for about 2 hours. But Gage told me a lot about what his job was as a farmhand and how this accident happened.
My experience with Shane Associates has been excellent. I mean, they really make you feel like family. They make you feel like you're taken care of and you really don't need to worry about anything because they've got it. Coming into this, obviously I didn't know much about the legal sides of all this, and Tim didn't know a whole lot about the farming side. So in the beginning, I was able to explain to him the whole aspect of farming and what happened here. And when it came time for depositions, I got to see Tim get to work. And it was impressive watching him dominate in the courtroom. Shay exceeded my expectations just in the fact that if I had a question, he was there to answer it. And it wasn't just Tim. Everyone on Tim's team at Shane Associates was beyond excellent and were there to answer my questions anytime I needed them to. If you've experienced anything like I have or had any of these concerns like I've had, I would highly recommend Shane Associates to anybody and everybody.
So Gage hired me and I promised him one thing. I promised him that I'd give him the best effort that I could, and I did. Gage and I worked on his case for a couple years, and at the end, Gage and I were friends. Thank you, Gage.
All I can say is this, when I walked in that deposition with Tim, I knew I was taken care of. He's pretty badass.